JT Cruz on the Sports Buffet podcast, trying to make this a regular thing. Hey, you got to start a habit somewhere. So 2 weeks in a row. Week 1 went pretty good for you. Not talking to me, but Gretna. What did you see that you liked?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, you know, you win a game 55-18, and obviously there's going to be a lot to like there. But for a game that ended up being, you know, 55-18 at the end of it, I mean, it was tight for a good little while there. You know, they put a drive together at the end of the half and then got the ball back at the start of the second half, drove down and scored on us and turned it into a 2-score ball game. You know, we get the ball back and we're driving and we get down into their territory and, got to a 4th down and had to go for it. And our guys found a way to make a play and convert that and then, scored it to keep it a 3-score game. But, you know, you wonder what that game would look like if we don't convert that 4th down, and all of a sudden they get the ball back and maybe they're able to put another drive together and go down and make it a 1-score game. And, you know, that's kind of high school football, right? It's a game of momentum. And we were able to hang on to the momentum and keep things rolling. But, you know, it was a good tight ball game there for a while. And so with that, having a relatively young football team with a lot of guys that are making or made their first varsity start this past Friday, it was good to see them rise to that occasion and perform under the lights. Cause like we talked about last week, I mean, you never really know until they get out there. So some good things in that regard, but just like any first football game to get out there and play, man, there is a ton of stuff that we got to get out there and improve on. And that's what we've been working on all week. So certainly some good things, but absolutely a million little things that we got to improve on.
All coaches hate when I do this to them or hate when anybody does this to them. Tell me an individual or either position if you want to that really grew up on Friday night.
Well, honestly, our defensive backfield, I guess that would be the place to look at. And certainly Gretna's quarterback, that guy, he played lights out. I mean, he threw the ball really, really well, and you turn on the film and as well as it looked on the field, you watch film and it's like, man, this guy, he played really, really good. I mean, he's finding a way to move in the pocket, step up, keep his eyes downfield, make anticipatory throws right while he's getting blasted in the face by our defensive lineman. I mean, he played lights out. And so with a defensive backfield where all 4 guys that started that game, that was their first varsity football start as a defensive back. And so they were kind of thrown into the fire there. And while they didn't play perfect by any means, like I said, just like any other position, there's a ton of things that they need to get cleaned up. I was pleased with their resilience and defensive back. It's one of those positions where, you know, you might give up a touchdown, but man, you got to line up and you got to cover that same guy again. And so their resilience, their mental toughness in that regard to experience a little bit of adversity, but continue to line up, continue to play. And when it came down to it, make plays in order to secure the win for us. I was really impressed with that from that group.
You know, I consider the defensive back like a closer in baseball because if the closer blows the save, that's all people remember. If a defensive back gives up a touchdown, he might have done 18 other great things during the game, but a lot of people are going to remember that touchdown. How much do you need to weed that out of people's head? Like you talked about, hey, if we make a bad play, it's a bad play. It's not a bad game.
Exactly. And that goes down to mental toughness, right? And mental toughness comes from experience and it comes from preparation. It comes from feeling that you have done everything that you can throughout the course of the week to put yourself in a position on Friday to play the best possible game that you can, so that you have that level of confidence that, man, I am as in good a position as I can be going into this game to where if something does go wrong, you can rally and you can fall back on that preparation and fall back on your teammates too, man. I mean, it's a special position in that we got 4 dudes on the back end and all 4 of those guys, they got to be on the same page. They got to be talking every single play. And so they got to lift each other up. You know, if one of them makes a great play, they're celebrating. If one of them doesn't make a good play, then they're picking that guy up and rallying behind him and getting ready to play the next play. So I mean, yeah, it's all mental toughness at that position, no doubt.
Before we talk about Staunton River, you trust me that I wouldn't want to put you on a bulletin board, right, for what you said on my podcast?
Yeah, I hope not.
Okay, well, I'm not trying to put you on one here, but Gretna is not the atmosphere that JF is because the stadiums look different for one. JF's in a hole. Gretna is not. A lot of similar districts, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but some are in holes. Gretna's not. With that being said, I hate to say how was the atmosphere at Gretna, but can you compare it to something that your kids might see later on, or do you not care what they think the atmosphere was?
Honestly, the thing that we preach is it's about us, right? It's not about anything on the outside. As long as that field is 120 yards long and it's got a scoreboard that lights up, and the lines are painted on there, man, we're going to go out in there and play. And maybe the lines might not even be painted all that great. We're still going to go out there and play. Like, that's the world that we live in. All the crowd, all the atmosphere, all that stuff, man, we put that out of our mind, and we just go out and we play the way we're capable of playing.
Okay, but do you feel like in the past few years of being a head coach that sometimes you might have to talk your team down? Because, let's be honest, JF and Brookville, that's a rivalry. Kids are going to get amped up, and you probably got to maybe even bring them down, or do you want them that high?
Well, and so, kind of leading into the next one, that's a good point, right? So we're playing Staunton River, who's a cross-county rival, who every time we play these guys, it's a tight football game, and we're playing them in our home opener. So you got a cross-county rival in your home opener. So, there's going to be a level of intensity that maybe, again, you talk about some young football players on your team that don't have a lot of varsity football experience. That's maybe an environment that they haven't experienced before. And so to me, it's not necessarily talking them down or anything like that. It's just, it's don't even consider that. It's, man, we are playing the way that we are capable of playing. We are playing our style of football. Nothing else matters. It's about us. It's not about the crowd. It's not about the environment. It's about us. It's about our preparation. It's about our intensity, playing for each other, playing for your teammates, not necessarily for any sort of roaring crowd or because we're playing our rival or anything like that. It's about us at the end of the day. That's the mindset that we try and instill in our guys to go out there each and every Friday, regardless of who we're playing or where we're playing them.
Props to you. That's a very diplomatic answer about atmospheres and how it got going there.
That's the truth. It's the truth.
You talk about Staunton River. It is a cross-county rival. It is your first home game. And yes, I know it's about us being the Jefferson Forest Cavaliers in this case. But what have you seen on film that sticks out to you about Staunton River?
So watching Staunton River, honestly, they remind me of the team that I had last year in the sense that they have a lot of returning players, a lot of guys that, having played them, this will be our third time in my 4 years of having the job here. It's the same guys I've been seeing all 3 years. And so it's a lot of guys that have played a ton of football that started as sophomores and are now playing their senior year, and you can tell, those guys have grown up. And so the maturity, the improvement that I've seen from that team year over year, just having watched them prepping for them, that's the first thing that stands out to me is man, it's a lot of guys that I recognize out here. They play hard, they play physical, they're going to go out there, they're going to try and establish the run game. And honestly, they play with fire, they play with intensity, man. You watch them, they play with a chip on their shoulder. And so again, bringing it back to us, it's can we play with that level of intensity? Can we get fired and up to match that, to be able to play as hard as they are? On defense, are we going to be able to hustle as hard to the football as they are when we're on offense? Those sorts of things. That's what stands out when you watch those guys on film.